Good morning, guys. It's Grace. Today's video is going to be Childhood Stories Part 2, because I did think of some more. Update for some of my people who've already seen some of my other videos. I got a tripod, and so we don't have to worry about my camera not being secured and constantly moving throughout my videos and having to fix it. That is a problem of the past now, just so you guys know. Anyways, as you know, if you watched my last Childhood Stories video, I had little problems with the bathrooms in elementary school, being scared to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. This story kind of relates to that as well, but I'll get to that towards the end. So there was a little, on the playground, there was a little gated area that kind of looked like a jail cell. I'm not 100% sure what it actually was. To us though, we, of course, all of us had a story about what it was, what we thought it was. And I remember all the people saying, if you look, because when you looked into the thing, there were stairs going down, and then it was dark, you couldn't see anything. And I remember a lot of kids telling me, like, oh, if you look really hard, you could see candy wrappers down there. I never saw them, but I said I did, just to, you know, agree with everyone else. But I never actually saw any candy wrappers. But anyways, the story behind these candy wrappers were that a little boy went down these stairs to see what was down there, and he was eating candy on the way down, throwing his wrappers down to leave like a little trail or something, so he knew which way to go on his way back up the stairs. And when he got down there, there was a snake that ate him. And I remember having a fear of when I went, because there's bathrooms right by this little area. I remember thinking the snake was going to come under the stall and eat me, so I wouldn't go to the bathroom. But at this point, I could hold it, so I didn't have to worry about peeing my pants. I could wait till I got home. So bathrooms were not my thing in elementary school. But I also remember that the janitor would always go down there, and we were like so confused about why he'd go down there and why he wouldn't get eaten. And then we came to the conclusion that only kids got eaten, not adults, so adults were safe. And then every time we went over there to look, all the playground supervisors would yell at us that we weren't allowed to be over there. I think partially because they knew what we said about it, and obviously that it wasn't true. There was no snakes that eat little boys over in the little whatever it was. I have no idea what it was. And there was like people said too that they put up those bars specifically so you couldn't go down there and be eaten by the snake, which is probably not what it was for. I mean, it was probably to keep us out, but not because there was a snake. Probably because of whatever other reasons we weren't allowed to be down there. But anyways, and then, so yeah, that is another reason why I didn't use the bathrooms in elementary school. But lucky for me, I had a lot better bladder control by then. And then my next story, I might have 3. For now, I'm just going to tell 2, but maybe at the end, if I feel like it, I'll tell you the 3rd story. So anyways, that's my first story. My 3rd story, these aren't really stories per se, they're more rumors that went around the school. So yeah, anyways, so there was that rumor about the snake eating, or boy eating snake. And then the next rumor was from one of the girls that was in our grade. she had a couple little sisters that pretty much everybody knew. And they took the bus home, and where our playground was on the other side of the fence that blocked off the field, that's where the buses parked. So we could see the buses whenever we were on the playground. And she said that her sister, I don't remember what the exact story was, but I remember somehow she said her sister died on the bus. And I think it was ghosts. I think the story was ghosts, but I'm not 100% sure. I just remember we were looking at the buses, and she said, like, oh, right there, that bus, that's the bus we take home. And if you look, of course, all of these, if you look close enough, you could see her bloody handprint on the window, because as the ghosts were attacking her or whatever was happening to her, she hit her hand on the window, her bloody hand, and there's the handprint still there if you look close enough. And you couldn't see the handprint, but of course everybody said, oh yeah, I see it. But I remember, like, a couple days later, we all saw her sister walking around the school, and we confronted her, like, we just saw your sister, what are you talking about, she died? And she's like, no, she really is dead, that's not my sister, and all this stuff. So that rumor ended pretty quickly, but I remember, even though, you know, everybody found out that it wasn't true, we were still all scared of the buses. We wouldn't go toward, like, that area of the playground, we wouldn't go over there, and all the kids who rode buses home were scared to go on that specific bus. And ghosts were a big thing too, because I remember them saying about the other rumor, the boy who got eaten, his ghost would roam around the school and stuff, which of course wasn't true either. Nobody saw ghosts. There was no snakes that ate boys. There was no candy wrappers or bloody handprints. But, you know, that's the kind of stuff we did to entertain ourselves, come up with all these things that weren't true. I will tell you the third story. This one's not really a story or a rumor. This is just something we did when we were in elementary school. So, Capri Suns, we would drink Capri Suns, and when we were done, we would fold them in half and then fold the bottom up right at the straw, and we would pretend it was a little cell phone and play with them. And I don't like Capri Suns, but I would literally drink them just so that I could do that. And I grew up on the east side of where I live, and that's where I went to elementary school and everything, and everybody at my school did that. That's what we did. Since none of us actually had cell phones, we pretended with Capri Sun pouches. Well, when I started going to school on the west side, starting in middle school and going through high school, I remember a couple kids from my elementary school came with us to the west side, and I remember all of us just saying, like, you know, telling stories like, oh, we used to do this, we used to do that, because most of us had pretty much the same childhoods. We would do the same things growing up, and we would always talk about doing this with Capri Suns, and they were like, what are you talking about? That's weird, we never did that. And to this day, everybody I ask who went to elementary school on the west side has never done it. But to us, that was a huge part of our childhood. That's, you know, everybody did that. So if you did that, comment below. Let me know that my elementary school wasn't the only one. Sorry, I just turned on my heater. Anyways, if you did that, comment. Let me know that we weren't the only ones. If you have any stories to share, you can feel free to leave that in the comments as well. And hopefully you enjoyed my stories. If I do think of any more interesting ones, then I will share them with you guys, maybe make a part 3. to my crazy elementary school stories. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share my videos with your friends or whoever else you think would be interested in watching them. And I will see you guys on Friday.